say that.
No more DUIs.
That's true.
All right, here we go. So getting ready to start. Whichever one's red is the one that's on. Hey, it's Phil Ratcliffe with Rebel Financial, and thanks so much for tuning in to our live broadcast. Today we've got a really cool subject episode. We got Falon Donohue here with our VentureOhio, right here local. So thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks for all you do, because I'm a big believer in technology, making people's lives better.
Yes.
And we got to connect the people that have the resources and the ideas to the people actually boots on the ground doing things,
Absolutely.
right? So tell us a little bit. You just looking you up, I saw you started out from the military and the National Guard
Yep.
to now,
Yep.
being CEO of Venture Capitalist Trade Associations.
Yeah,
How'd
yeah.
that happen?
Long winding road, I guess.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't expect this path to end up where it is so
Mhm.
far, but it did, and I'm really grateful and excited about it. I did join the military like 2 days after I turned 18. It wasn't that unusual of a path
Sure.
for me to take because I lived outside of the Mansfield area, and we have a pretty large guard base there.
Okay.
So I had some friends that had taken that path, and I was looking for a way to pay for my school, so I joined, and I ended up re-enlisting and stayed in for a total of 9 years.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your
taking the guard
service.
path. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your service as well.
Yeah. So, and then just you worked your way
Yeah.
up through industry and sales, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
met
So
people
I did.
in the venture world.
Yeah, I think social capital is everything, and
Mhm.
the people that you choose to surround yourself with will largely dictate where you go next.
Mhm.
I started as a receptionist and kind of worked my way up through there, through different sales roles and bigger sales roles and different companies. And one day stumbled on this crazy startup community that was really starting to emerge in Columbus, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. Loved being around the founders, loved their enthusiasm and their belief that they can change
Mhm.
the world. And so I was doing anything that I could, which really wasn't much, but my small part to help them be more successful. And the bug just kind of took over. I was at every startup event, participating when I could, helping raise money when I could, and helping to throw these events.
Mhm.
And the VentureOhio opportunity was something that I stumbled upon, and I was the right place, the right time. And
So, do you guys work more with the venture capital firms, or more with angel investors, or both, or?
both, yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
for people that don't know, what do those two entities, groups, people do? Like, how does it work?
Yeah. So an angel investor is a high net worth individual who invests in startup companies in exchange for equity.
Mhm.
These folks are usually executives or entrepreneurs or former entrepreneurs. I don't know if you could ever be a former entrepreneur, an entrepreneur
You
for
don't
life.
stop,
Yeah. That want to give back to their community, and they can make strategic introductions and provide guidance and mentorship for these startup companies. So they make a financial investment, and then they support the company throughout its growth.
And especially, I would imagine a lot more of the local of these entities and people are probably more interested in the community and
Absolutely.
changing things versus maybe some of the national or international where it's more about the
Absolutely.
money,
Yeah, absolutely.
right, and making a higher return on investment.
Columbus has a
So.
very thriving angel community here. There's a group called Ohio Tech Angel Fund.
Mhm.
They get some support from the state as well, so it doubles your money there. And I think they're the second largest angel group in the country.
Wow.
So
In
it's a really
Ohio.
robust,
That's
really
awesome.
robust group there. A venture capital firm is different. This is
Mhm.
institutional money.
Mhm.
Venture capitalists raise money from what they call limited partners.
Okay.
Limited partners can be high net worth individuals. They're typically institutions, endowment funds from universities, pension funds,
Okay.
private equity, corporate funds that invest in these venture capital funds. They don't make day-to-day decisions. That's why they're called limited partners.
For sure.
The venture capital fund is run by the general partners, and those general partners make decisions. These folks invest in startup companies, and very similar to an angel fund,
Okay.
they invest in these companies in exchange for equity in the company,
Mhm.
and they provide connectivity, mentorship, connect them to follow-on funding, connect them to customers, and generally help the companies grow.
Okay. So, what of your all's kind of association? What's the mix between venture versus the angel?
So most of our membership are the angel funds.
Okay.
So an angel investor can make direct investments into a company and help provide that support,
But they
or
rather
you can
pool.
hedge your
Yeah.
bet a little bit and
Sure.
invest into an angel fund
That does
where you
lots
have
of
pooled
different
your
ones.
capital with 20 other angels, 200 other angels. then these startup companies will present in front of you, and you as a group vote whether or not to make that investment.
Okay.
And through your role in the fund, you can serve on due diligence committees, you can perhaps even serve in a board role capacity for the startup company. And then, of course, you can also make investments on your own into those companies that are presented. They call those sidecar investments.
Yeah. So, so why do these groups need like an association? What was the idea of like what you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah. So this isn't very uncommon. There are several trade associations that are sort of like VentureOhio. None of them that are identical to VentureOhio. But a few years ago, there were some things happening at the state level that made these folks get together for the first time. Cleveland and Cincinnati and Columbus kind of operate their own fiefdoms, plus Youngstown, Toledo, Dayton. And we had some things happening at the state level. One was a fund of funds that was running out of capital that they wanted to get renewed. There were some tax credits that weren't being renewed that they wanted to kind of lobby around. So this group got together and as one unified voice instead of a lot of loud people talking to our policymakers. They wanted to be very clear in their needs and for the venture capital community and entrepreneurship community. So the community itself formed VentureOhio. About a year later, I came in to run it full time. I started as an executive director and was later promoted to the CEO, which is the role that I serve in today. But we've changed quite a bit over the last few years. As the entrepreneurial ecosystem has changed dramatically over the last 4 years. So we're trying to be responsive to that change and continue to help the entrepreneurs grow.
You're making more of a community for the local investors and stuff as well too, right? That's like you guys do like a yearly dinner and you put out that report about so like we know what the impact is and how things are growing and what so. It seems like it's grown a lot since the early ones that you put out. It seems like the investments like tripled.
Absolutely.
Or what so.
Yeah, investment activity was at its highest growth rate last year. We had over $1 billion of venture capital invested into Ohio startup companies last year.
So it's like 5 times because it was like 200 and some million now to like over $1 billion now, right?
The growth has been tremendous.
Yeah. Well, what are some of the companies and what so that have been past successes or what so? I think that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I think one that everyone probably knows about is Cover My Meds because it was massive. It was the largest tech acquisition in Ohio's history.
That's awesome.
That was over $1 billion deal. The Cover My Meds sold to McKesson a couple of years ago, and that was incredible. That company continues to grow exponentially, opening a campus in the Franklinton area and create really great, cool jobs, and they're building this really exciting community around the growth of that company. Their CEO, Matt Scanlon, is still in place as the CEO of the company, and their growth has just been tremendous. And I think
I was reading more about that in your last venture report. You had a section on that whole thing there. When's the 2018 one coming out?
I'm not really sure. Some of the ESPs have taken over the creation of that report. So VentureOhio's role has been to create programs, and once we get them up and off the ground, we will pass them to one of the state organizations and then kind of take it from there on the day-to-day management of that entity.
Cool. It's interesting when you just go around and research. It's another company that I saw in there that we had a gentleman in earlier from Root Insurance, and I had never heard of that. Now it's like I've heard of them like 3 times quickly. Yeah. And then I went to like a little business mixer not that long ago, and there was like a couple people that worked for them, and I was just like,
Root's amazing. Yeah. They're growing like crazy.
So what are some of the younger, newer ones coming up that might be of interest to people, or they may be hearing about more sometime in the near future?
Our community is so incredible because it ranges from, these high-tech, biotech companies that are focused on microbiomes and, making, agricultural technology companies that are improving the lives of farmers and the quality of their crops to there's a company called Rap Chat that is exactly what it sounds like. It's an application that allows you to create raps and share them with your friends. Wow. There's a company called Share that you probably will see out and about in Columbus. There's Share vans all over Columbus, and they're getting senior citizens out of their homes and into the communities and getting safe and reliable transportation for students to school and getting employees on time, reliable transportation to and from work. While reducing emissions and reducing wear and tear on our infrastructure. So Share is a really incredible microtransit company that's based here as well.
Yeah. So what are the primary like venture firms in our area as well too? Just, I mean, people may have heard of a couple, but
Yeah.
you know, there's probably a lot more than just
Sure.
what you hear.
Yeah, and
right?
they're all a little bit different.
Mhm.
NCT has been around the longest. NCT Ventures, their founding group has been together for more than 20 years. But
Wow.
you know, as a formalized institutional fund, I think they've been around for about 10 or so. So NCT specializes in early stage company growth. So they're going to come in after you've gotten to about $1 million in annual recurring revenue.
Okay.
Drive Capital is I'd say new to town, but it's just not the case anymore. They've now been around here for quite some time. They're definitely Columbus people. This was founded by two Sequoia partners, Chris
yeah.
Olson and Mark Kwame, who left Sequoia to pursue the Midwest opportunity. Like many others, they foresaw that this was a really exciting opportunity ahead. You know, the Midwest had all these raw ingredients.
So did they move here, or were they
Yeah.
from here originally, get up there and then come
Yeah,
back?
they moved here. I think one of them was originally from Cincinnati.
Okay.
And Mark is definitely a Silicon Valley guy for his whole life, and left the apricot orchards for the soybean fields, as he says,
and corn.
To pursue this opportunity. You know, we've got these great institutions. Ohio State is something that we probably take too much for granted.
Sure.
It's just an amazing
Are they involved
resource.
a lot
They are.
in startup? And,
They are very involved
yeah?
in startups. They've got a group called the Technology Commercialization Office that has over 80 active portfolio companies right now. That's just faculty startups, technology that faculty has created at Ohio State that they spin out and then license to entrepreneurs to help turn that into a real company and scale it out and grow.
Okay.
I don't know the measurements on their student companies,
Sure.
but they've got some really incredible entrepreneurial programs at Ohio State that are bring these budding future entrepreneurs together and connect them to venture capitalists around town and connect them to resources and encourage them to start their own companies. And there have been a lot of success stories from that as well.
That's awesome. That's where a lot of great companies have come from, is capturing those maybe idealists or creators right out of college.
For sure.
You know, even dropouts
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
have those connections. So where do you see Ohio and Columbus and the Midwest going in the next few years?
I think we're on a really fast trajectory. I really do. San Francisco, you know, and Silicon Valley have historically been, you know, they are the birthplace,
Sure.
large in part of venture capital. Certainly a large concentration of capital is in California. Over 50% total venture dollars are in California.
Wow.
But they're facing a very significant housing crisis. It is so difficult just to live there.
Yeah.
You know, so if you want to start your career, even in the tech industry, even as a technologist, even as an engineer, you've got 7 roommates. It's just,
How do you afford
it's
to
a
live
tough
there, yeah.
quality of life, and I think people are really starting to see that the Midwest has an incredible quality of life. So from a talent perspective, more talented people are staying here, more talented people are moving here and moving back here. From a capital perspective, we have more capital than we ever have before in this space in Ohio. We need a lot more. We still receive 0.6% of all total venture dollars in Ohio.
So what's
last
the
year.
second biggest state, do you know?
So 75% of capital went to California, Massachusetts, and New York. New York City has a center of gravity, and Boston has a very heavy center of gravity for life sciences companies. We've got MIT and
Sure.
some others up there. So they've really developed a center of gravity for medical devices and drug development.
I did see, like, in your that venture report, that it seemed like 90% of the investment was just information technology and life sciences, you know?
Yeah.
And then the other was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
less than 10%.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, not a lot of product coming out of Ohio. Cincinnati has a little bit more. Startup communities tend to mirror their corporate communities in some cases. And that's been the case in Cincinnati, where they have Procter & Gamble and Kroger and Macy's. So you've got these product companies, and so, you know, community has spun out of that, companies that are selling to these larger corporations.
It does seem like things are going in the right direction, like Columbus getting the smart city,
Yes.
almost getting Amazon HQ too.
Right.
So who knows, you know, what'll keep coming. And
Right.
I do hear more and more about startups and successful things happening, like the Cover My Meds, and it's cool. I think
It's awesome.
and it's nice to be able to work somewhere where it is lower cost and higher quality of
Absolutely,
life
yeah.
as well too.
Yeah.
So then, even beyond the next few years, where do you see us in the next few decades? You know, will we get up to being a significant percentage?
Yeah.
You know?
I think so. You know, when you think about where we've been and where we're headed, a lot of these, I don't call them easy companies, but these, B2C companies that are all IPOing, this week and last week, and the Facebooks of the world and LinkedIn's of the world, a lot of those companies have been built, and you still see a lot of those, the Uber of, the Facebook of, whatever, someone's trying to explain what they do. And those have predominantly come out of Silicon Valley, and they required a lot of capital to reach a large audience very quickly to scale. What we see in Ohio and other Midwest cities are entrepreneurs who are taking on tougher challenges. They're disrupting healthcare, energy, finance, food, these really heavily regulated industries, and these companies are a lot tougher to build.
Sure.
And as the Internet of Things turns into the Internet of everything, and sensors will be on every stop sign and every car and ourselves, and we're going to start carrying technology and data and information in our own DNA, and there's so many things that are going to change as we become a part of this, and the world around us becomes a part of the Internet of everything. The areas with the people, the consumers, the businesses certainly are going to continue to grow, and Columbus is in an incredible spot. We're within like a day's drive of 60% of the population, and we have a large center of gravity for these corporations that are now becoming customers. If you think about a manufacturing facility and the impact that robotics and nanosensors will have on that industry. So we're seeing a lot of startup companies pop up here that are serving those corporations, and I think that's only going to continue to grow. Proximity to the corporations is huge, and an engaged government is huge as well. So we see our leadership in Ohio at the state level, at the federal level, certainly in Columbus at the city level as well, really leaning in to support entrepreneurship, and that means a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully you can make us like Ready Player One, the biggest city in the world, right?
Yeah, based in Columbus, absolutely, yeah.
Well, any last words of wisdom or advice for aspiring investors or people that may have resources but haven't connected with people and connecting with you or other funds or like-minded?
Just to get involved. I know venture capital isn't always discussed, and I think it's being discussed more and more, but it's a great investment opportunity. So do your research. There's a lot of it out there. There are a lot of great publications that help you understand what the risk to reward ratio is, how venture capital operates, how they call their capital down, when you can expect returns, what type of returns you can expect. And do the same as an angel investor. If you're an expert in your field and you have a really large network, get involved. Even if you don't have the financial capital to invest, but you do have social capital that you're ready and willing to spend, get involved, because your mentorship and certainly your connectivity could mean everything. One large customer can change the entire trajectory of a startup company, so get involved.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for coming in and sharing what you do. You guys go check out their website. We put it up on the video multiple times. We'll also tag and put a link. Check out their venture report. It's pretty eye-opening in terms of seeing how you guys are helping to grow. I can't wait to see your new one, especially it seems like it almost doubled from 2017. So that's rocking. So thanks again for you guys joining in, spending a part of your day with us. As always, comment below, tag people up, share it out so we can get the word out for the great things happening in our part of the country. So have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.